Council's meeting was delayed until last week, I have to say that there's not a great deal new to report here tonight. However, there is a line in the report that I think needs to be highlighted, paragraph 3.5, which says it is estimated there will be a reduction of approximately 200 full-time equivalent posts or more. That's 200 people's jobs at least that will be going. That's 200 families at least that will be worrying about how they're going to be paying their bills. That's 200 or more Thurrock Council staff who we will be telling we must learn to do without your job. It's not nice in any way, shape or form. And I know from personal experience, as I've been on the receiving end, I've been made redundant in the past myself. And I know that there are people who seek to hide the blame for the reductions in funding that we're suffering, somehow trying to cover them in the fog of political rhetoric. They trot out the usual cliches, somehow thinking that people will still believe that the worldwide crunch was caused by one man, one political party. And I really bet that that one man wishes he had the power to make that happen. But we all know that other countries are still struggling to deal with the global economic downturn. You just have to look at what happened in France last weekend. Yet here in Britain, we're constantly being told by government that the recession is over. I have to say that it doesn't feel like that to any of the public bodies up and down the country who are being squeezed harder and harder, who are being forced to take really unpalatable decisions like cutting vital services and jobs. And over recent years, we've taken many of these really tough decisions. Over the past few years, we've already had to make around 200 redundancies, and every one of those I've had to sign off. Every one of those has hurt me personally. And now we're looking at least another 200 more. And I'm sorry, but I have to say this isn't what I came into local politics for, and it's not something that I think we can sit in silence about any further. So anyone who claims that we have selective amnesia is someone who is seeking to duck their own responsibilities, just like those politicians who seek to blame this council for having to make tough spending cuts, whether it's for voluntary grants or bin collections, whether it's for grass cutting or sweeping the streets. But the truth is, we, and that means all of us, have a duty, both a legal duty and a moral duty, to make sure that we set a balanced budget. So the less money we receive, the less money we can spend. We simply can't spend what we don't have. And as the government continue reducing our funding, I have to be quite clear that the decisions that we must make will continue to get tougher and tougher. 200
more Thurrock families that are going to be at the sharp end of these cuts yet again. It's absolutely deplorable that people are going to lose their livelihood. Not only is it going to affect those individuals and their families, but of course that spending power in our Thurrock shops and in all of the activities, in our sports places, is also going to be affected considerably. So up until now we've really talked about the service cuts and the impact that that's going to have, and we know that we've had a lot of discussions with our voluntary sector, and now we're talking about the individuals that obviously when services get smaller or people take on extra work, we lose staff. And we've got another 200 redundancies to make, and it probably is not going to stop there. We're going to continue, as the leader says, with these cuts year on year. I know even in my own portfolio, we're talking about cutting 10% of social workers, which is not palatable and it's not good for people of Thurrock, but unfortunately this is the position that we find ourselves in, and we're boxed into a corner to make these cuts.
Times in the past that Thurrock is no different to any other authority, local authority up and down the country. In fact, I was talking to a colleague from Havering just yesterday, and the level of cuts that they're expected to have to make over the next 3 years is some £45 million. So the same kind of area as us. And there really are, I believe, local authorities, especially smaller authorities, that will not survive the next round of government cuts. I do really sometimes wonder how ministers expect local authorities to survive. let alone carry on delivering services and delivering the new responsibilities that government is still giving us.